What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, now I wanted to talk on this whole Jake Paul, Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather situation and kind of just give you guys my thoughts and ideas on it, because I think this has the potential on being something big. Like, if Jake Paul and Logan Paul live up to what they're saying, then I think that this has something, it has the potential to be something big. But if not, then this is, I think that this is just going to overall be a payday. I just think that that's what the entertainment business, regardless of what you're doing, like, it's all about the money. So at the end of the day, like, Floyd and Logan Paul, they could just stand across the ring from each other and overall, like, just throw a couple of hits, wait till the bell, wait till the bell rings, fight's over. Like, at the end of the day, like, if my thing is like, so here's what I think. Floyd is going to win. All right. Floyd is going to win. He's a more experienced boxer. Logan Paul, I feel like he is at some point in time going to get nervous. Now, if he doesn't, he doesn't. But based off of his fight with KSI, my thing is like, he couldn't win against KSI. So my thing is like, KSI is like nowhere near as a professional boxer than Floyd Mayweather. And there's no disrespect to KSI. I have nothing but respect for KSI and his boxing ability. But comparing himself to Floyd Mayweather, that's not a good comparison. Like, KSI, I'm like, I can't really think of a boxer that, like a professional boxer, a boxer that's like, they didn't get their fame from like YouTube and all of that stuff. Like, there's boxers out there, I feel like, that we don't know of that can hang with KSI, that can hang with Logan Paul and give them a run for their money and show them like, hey, this boxing stuff, it's serious. So that's why I'm like, and once again, it's no disrespect to Logan, Jake Paul, KSI, or any other, person. I'm not saying that it's like, it's like because you're a YouTuber or a TikToker or some sort of entertainer, you don't have no boxing ability. Anybody can gain a boxing ability if you train for it. And if you like work hard for it, anybody could get the boxing ability if you really want that. But here's what I think, okay? Here's what I think is going to happen the day of June 6th when Floyd and Logan Paul go head-to-head. I do think that Floyd, he is going to, he's going to lure him in. Because my thing is like, Floyd went up against Conor McGregor. Now, fighting ability, I honestly think that Conor McGregor would hands down demolish Floyd in a fight. But, and I'm saying like with his abilities versus Floyd Mayweather, I'm saying like his MMA abilities versus Floyd's abilities. Like my thing is like when you limit all body like fighter and stuff, I just feel like that, it's not a fair fight. Even though like he signed up to do this boxing fight with Floyd Mayweather at the time, I just felt like that he was limited, because he couldn't really do none of that MMA stuff. But if he would have been doing some of that MMA stuff, he would have hands down demolished Floyd. Hands down, 100%. Like, that's why they had it where it was just like, okay, boxing and boxing. And then come Floyd, and that's why Floyd never stepped in the ring with no MMA fighter. Now, fast forward, Logan Paul, now he's going up against Floyd. And here's the thing, like, to include Jake Paul into this, I feel like Jake Paul made Floyd even more upset. I feel like Floyd is going to really dig down. And here's the thing, like, now, that could be the possibility, too, where Floyd, he's just so like filled up and angry and upset. Now he gonna let this guy get into his head, and now he's not thinking straight. And it could just be that one hit that Logan's talking about. Excuse me, where he lands it, then that's it. The internet is going to go crazy. If he stuns or knocks down Floyd Mayweather, if he just throws, if my thing is like, if he just jabs him, right, or just gives him a straight, and Floyd's head goes back, and you see a bunch of sweat just flying off of Floyd, yeah, that they're gonna talk about that. Even though Floyd will win the fight, they're gonna talk about that. How Logan Paul, and YouTuber, somebody that's nowhere like his record compared to Floyd's record, like, That's why I'm like, and I'm saying that this man's been doing this a lot longer. So he has, I feel like that's the one thing that you would pick up, being like anything's really, like any sort of entertainers, like you're going to pick up like entertainers that you go up against. So it's like whether it's a comedian or a musician or like that's like if we're gonna talk about like musicians, that's like if Lil Pump said that he could go up against Kendrick Lamar in a rap battle. Kendrick Lamar done went up against people in rap battles. This man done released multiple albums. Like, this man has added nothing but art behind his music. Lil Pump, on the other hand, he's a club banger. He just got into this not too long ago. Here it is, Kendrick, he's been at this for like, what, since he was a kid? So I'm like, and I and that's the thing where I'm like, it just really, I just think that, with, just with that, like when it's that versus stuff is getting talked about, like who this person against this person, I just feel like that Kendrick, like he just has more experience. He's came from like different generations. Lil Pump, on the other hand, he's just a part of this like generation, like not even a part. I feel like it's like a new age of music that's starting right now, but he doesn't have that many generations, upon him. Rather than with like now getting back to Floyd and Logan Paul, Floyd, this man's been like boxing since, how long has he been boxing? Let me look it up real quick. Floyd Mayweather. He's Floyd Mayweather Jr. He's been boxing since, man's only 44 years old, huh? Okay, wait a second. Mayweather had an amateur record of 84-8. Dang, he lost. So he actually lost some fights. I always thought that this man, like, he never lost. Like, that's, wow. Floyd then lost some, well, it was like amateur, so it was when he very first started. But anyways, they don't even say, okay, let me just look at, I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. Did Floyd Mayweather started boxing October 11th, so that was when his like pro boxing. So this man's been boxing literally since my birth year. Okay, so Floyd's been, and then Logan Paul. How old is Logan Paul? I think he was born in 95. Yeah, so it's like, okay, Logan, when you was, this is how you gotta view it, right? This is how you gotta view it. When Logan was born, Floyd was doing amateur boxing, and he went in amateur boxing. Hold on, let me go back to it, because there's like, he went like 80-8, so it's like, man won some fights for sure. So yeah, this man had an amateur record of 84-8, and that was like in 90. So my thing is like, before you was even born, bruh, this man was already making a name for himself in the amateur league of boxing. And then a year after you was born, this man goes pro. Has probably one of the most successful pro boxing careers of all time, definitely of our time. And you just start getting into boxing like a few years ago, and you think that you have the experience to beat Floyd in a fight. Like, that's what I'm like, and that's what I'm saying, like, I feel like with Logan, because I think they said with Logan, he used to do wrestling. So I think that's, when you're a limited fighter, when you're not able to do the things that you want to do, then it's going to, you going to be feeling held back. Like, you're like, oh man, I want to do this, but I can't. Floyd, he's all like, this is what I've been doing, and I've been doing it since before you was born. So you really think, do you honestly think that Floyd is going to lose this fight? This fight. This man has went up against some of the best boxers of all time. Like, and that would be my question to Logan. Do you think you'd be able to win a fight against Floyd Mayweather's easiest fight? Let's just see who is his Floyd Mayweather easiest fight. His claim, Canelo Alvarez was his easiest opponent after the Mexicans signed a record $365 million. All right, so Canelo Alvarez, And I'm like, that's a name that I think a lot of people are familiar with. Like, he ain't just some old small little boxer. Like, nah, man. This man has only lost one time. So my question to Logan would be, do you think, dang, and that was like the only fight that he lost was against, oh, there was like 2 draws, but dang, I didn't realize that was the only fight that he lost was against Floyd. Well, I'm like, okay, well then that makes, sense and stuff. But anyways, that would be my question to Logan Paul. Do you think you would be able to beat Canelo Alvarez in a boxing fight? Because if you think that you can beat him in a boxing fight, then it's like, okay, you know something that we don't know. And that's why I'm like, even in a Conor McGregor, and that's why I'm like, I'm very curious to see how Conor McGregor, because I'm like, Conor McGregor was hanging with Floyd in their boxing fight. So that's why I'm like, I feel like that. And my thing is like, if he said that Canelo Alvarez, a pro boxer, was his easiest fight versus when he went up against Conor McGregor, like, that's what I'm like, bro, do you guys honestly think that you have a chance against him? Especially, I'm like, I think Jake Paul will have more of a chance against Floyd than Logan, because I'm like, the 2 fights that I had seen of Logan, which was the 2 KSI fights, and I remember I did see, like, he did that one where he was boxing that lookalike guy from Rocky 4. It wasn't the actual dude from Rocky 4, the Russian guy or whatever that dude was. Was he Russian or Ukrainian? I'm like, I ain't trying to say something that's like, gonna mess around and people were like, oh, you don't know the difference, and now they're gonna try to cancel me. Wait, his name is Dolph? He Swedish. Oh, so he's actually Sweden. Huh, why was he playing but he was portraying himself as a Russian and or was he? I don't freaking know. But anyways, the Sweden guy from Rocky 4, there was like, I remember when Logan Paul did this video a while ago where he was boxing a guy that looked like him. And yeah, it was like Logan did good, but I'm like, the question is that guy a professional fighter or is he just really good at taking hits? Like, that's the type of stuff that I think people need to, sit down and, like, think about. Like, with this fight, we need to really just put this down, like, on a piece of paper, right? We need to roll this out like how Macaulay Culkin was rolling out them papers in Home Alone. So we got to see this, like, this whole plan, like, put together, right? So you got Logan Paul, few years of experiences with boxing. Floyd Mayweather, years, before, or actually not even before, because I was born in August 10th. So after, after Logan and myself was born, that's when Floyd became a pro boxer. But if we're gonna talk on that just whole boxing lifestyle of Floyd, we got to bring up his amateur record. So this man went 84-8, I think that's what it was, 84-8. So this man has always, he's won 80 amateur fights, all right? 80 of them. Lost 8, but we ain't going to talk on that. But that was before our time. That was before both me and Logan Paul's time. I don't know why I'm including myself in it. But anyways, it was before Logan Paul's time where Floyd was already, starting off his boxing career. So as you're getting older, you're seeing this man box, maybe every year, every couple years, however long it takes for Floyd to, recover and get back to boxing and stuff. You've been watching this man, right? And then you get into your boxing lifestyle. You get into your boxing career. You train, for a little bit. But here's the thing, though. And it's no disrespect to any content creator. But I feel like that the times when you're doing your podcast or when you're doing videos, I can't remember the last time Logan Paul did a YouTube video. Let me see real quick. Logan Paul last video. Oh, he uploaded a video 3 days ago. How come I didn't get no notification of it? And it was with the whole, wow. I'm trying to think. I know I'm still subscribed to his channel. I'm like, bro, what in the, man, I swear. But anyways, all right, yeah, so I'm gonna definitely have to watch that video after I'm done with this. But anyways, I feel like the times when you're recording videos, being a content creator, doing your podcast, impulsive, what other things that you're doing all of these things while Floyd is training every single day. I feel like that with content creators is especially when they get into that boxing stuff, for an example, Comedy Shorts Gamer, Deji. That man wasn't, he been wanting to box for a while, but I do feel like at a point in time he did just kind of like, give up a little bit on the boxing stuff. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But anyways, he, comparing him to like Floyd, or even Floyd's like easiest opponent and stuff like KS or not KSI, Comedy Shorts Gamer. It's like this man, them boxers is training it's like this is their life. They're not a content creator. They're not an entertainer. Like, yes, they are a human just like you. They're a man just like you. But at the end of the day, when we're talking on boxing, I do feel like that Floyd is just a tad bit, not even a tad bit, a whole lot of bit more experienced than you. And that goes for Jake Paul too. Jake, I don't care who you knock out. I don't care how many fights you done won. I don't care how many people you done punked out. At the end of the day, Floyd can take on the both of you guys. No problem. Even him being 40-something years old. See, here's the thing. With Logan, I feel like that Logan, he has like this, this thing about him where he's like, oh, I'm a good fighter because I got me a couple of fights underneath my belt and I feel like I did good. So that's the thing where I'm like, I personally feel like he's kind of getting ahead of himself. No disrespect in that. Anybody can do that. All right. There's no problems with that. So I think he's getting a little bit ahead of himself. And then with Jake, he's definitely like gassed up right now. Man is gassed up right now. Because he's won every single, even in his like amateur fight when he went up against Deji. He won that fight. Well, Deji, they threw in the towel, but technically he did win that fight. Then he turns professional. Wins his 4 fights. Hold on for a second. Was it 3 or 4? I think it was 4. Hold on, let me look. Jake Paul. Oh, so it was only, dang, where did the 4th fight come from? I thought this man fought 3 times, but so yeah, so he goes on against this Gibb guy, wins that by TKO, knocks out Nate Robinson. So he knocks out all 3 of his opponents. And now Jake Paul, he thinks like he's like this like legend in boxing and stuff. But it's like, bruh, you only got 3 fights underneath you and stuff. What about that Ryan Garcia guy? I feel like that would be the only like content creator. Well, he ain't even really a content creator. I mean, he is more of a boxer than a content creator. But anyways, but no, he does have like, hold on. That man only has 900,000 subscribers. Wow, I thought he had more than that. I don't know why I thought he had like a million, like millions of subscribers or something. But anyways, so even with this Ryan Garcia guy, I feel like definitely Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they don't got nothing on Ryan Garcia. I'm like, now that would be a fight I would like to see. But yeah, even Ryan Garcia, I'm like, that's why I think that they should, like, one of them guys should take on. I'm like, to really like test it out and stuff. Go up against somebody that's your age or around your age, because I'm like, okay, they think that they can go up against Floyd because of his age. Like, or and there's like in the times where they did go up against, the times where, because what? Jake went up against Gibb, that he was around his age, I believe. Because it was like, yeah, that dude, he looks like he's in his 20s. So that was like what, the only like young fighter. And then it was like with Nate Robinson, this Ben Askren guy. Both of them dudes was like in their 30s and stuff. So it's like they a little bit up there in age. Not a whole lot, but still somewhat. They're a lot older than Jake Paul. Jake Paul got more energy and stuff. So I think that's even more so a reason why I think why Jake Paul won them fights. But I'm like, with Floyd, I honestly feel like Floyd would consume that energy. Like them guys, I'm just saying, they don't stand a chance. They can probably land a punch or two. They're not just going to go into that fight and not fight. Like, they're going to fight, but at the end of the day, it will have to be a miracle. Like, they would have to be praying on this 24/7 for one of them two to knock out Floyd Mayweather. And if they do, now let's just talk about that. Let's just talk about the possibility of one of them two knocking out Floyd Mayweather or winning against him. And if they just win against him, because this is like an exhibition, so it ain't going to be on Floyd's record or any of that stuff. So, but let's just say that he knocks him out, right? Logan Paul, like in this upcoming fight, he knocks him out. Out cold. Like Floyd is laid out on the mat. That is going to be a sight to see because we've never seen that. The fact that he's went up against all of these professional fighters and he gets all the way to this fight and he gets knocked out. Now I think that one thing that he will talk on is that oh, I'm up there in age, I'm old and all that stuff. And it's like, but bruh, you was up there in age when you went up against Conor McGregor. I mean, it's like you can't have that excuse forever. I'm like, now if it was like a much more older, like he's like 50, 60 or something, I'm like, okay, well then yeah, then that will make sense and stuff. But I'm like 40 years old. I'm like, bro, people be doing stuff at 40, and it's like, look at them wrestlers. Like they be having wrestlers. They still be doing like whole wrestling shows and stuff, and I'm like, them guys is active and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, bro, it's like you know. It's like if you knew that you were going to lose this, or you knew you was up there in age, you should have never took on this fight. But it's like, nah, you took on this fight. So therefore, and none of that age stuff, none of that. That can't work, okay? That can't work at all. So I do think that if Logan, if he does win this, Logan is going to have that's honestly going to be his life. That's honestly going to be his life. Like, there ain't no way that you can retire from that. No way possible. Because it's like, now that you unbeat one of the greatest boxers of all times, and then the boxing industry is going to look at Floyd and be like, really, bruh? You let this content creator, you let this YouTuber knock you out. Like, nah, fam. Floyd is going to be, I definitely feel like Floyd, this is going to be like a level of anger he's probably ain't never felt before. This man might actually hurt somebody badly if he loses that fight. So, that's why I'm all like, okay, if he loses, we better just brace ourselves for this is going to probably be one of the biggest days of all time, because I'm like, nah, that ain't normal. What just happened here? So I definitely will try my best to if I'm busy that day, then I'm like, all right, well, I'll catch the highlights on Twitter and stuff. I'll try to make sure my schedule is clear so I can order that fight and things and see what goes down, because I'm like, I'm curious. I'm very, very curious and stuff. So, but anyways, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. Make sure you subscribe to one of my 32 YouTube channels. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch at TMossBoss. And then make sure you like my page on Facebook, TMossBoss fan page. Meantime, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.